Hey guys, I'm Rob Shoecraft, 3 Storm Fitness, and I'm going to be talking about my thumbs today. So my thumbs, if you're watching this video, it'll be titled something like thumb pain free for so many weeks, because that's what I am. I've been thumb pain free for so many weeks, and it's been due to a protocol I've sort of developed as a kind of a hodgepodge of watching the most famous physical therapists on the internet. What are they? Bob and Brad, I believe is their names. They had a protocol of a couple different exercises you could do. I've been doing those, and then I sort of serendipitously discovered a stretch a couple weeks ago that made a huge difference. I'll build up to that. I'm going to do a couple exercises that I've been doing, build up to that big stretch at the end. If you want to jump around in the description, I'll put some timestamps. But let's go ahead and get started. So just to get specific, I'm talking about this meta something. You know what that's called, Roy? No, thank you, Roy. It's this joint, this thumb joint right here. If you do this and it hurts, it's probably what I'm talking about. Not so much down here, although I've had problems there. I'm pretty sure that's probably related to the wrists and the forearms, all the way elbow, shoulder, right? What you do in the shoulder can affect your thumbs. But let's talk about specifically the thumb joint and this range of motion, clamping down, making circles, etc. I work in IT, so I just have the tendency, even though I get all this ergonomic crap to make things easier on my joints, you still get bunched up and funky in that area. So I know that has a lot to do with it. I also, lift weights, and I also do jiu-jitsu, which is very grip oriented. So with all those things combined, and I'm just kind of injury prone, right? So all those things combined, I get a lot of thumb pain. Let's start off. I'll just take you through like a good thumb rehab, prehab deal. I am just a former personal trainer. I'm not a physical therapist, so take all this with a grain of salt. This is just what I've been doing, and it's been working. So first off, I like to kind of get the tissue supple, right? So I'll give myself like a little massage. Like really, I like to kind of ride this line through here if I'm dealing with my thumb specifically. You can kind of feel it out. Like if you move your thumb, you can sort of feel where things are moving in the forearm. And just start up by the bicep insertion point here and just kind of work your way down. All right, I work my way down. Ironically, the more pressure you put on this thumb, the more pain it could potentially cause. So I got this thing a while ago. This works really well. It's called the Arm Aid, and it's a very niche product. I got it originally for medial epicondylitis, golfer's elbow. Helped quite a bit with that. Works triceps, works just about anything on your arm. You can clamp down on here. This is pretty sophisticated. I think this is like 65 bucks. I think I got it for 65 bucks. I don't know how much it costs now. I'll put a link to it. Anyways, you clamp down and you just work through that. You can kind of take, work your fingers around, open things up, splay them, go back and forth. Just as tight as you could stand. Do that for a little while, right? So after I do that, I'll go ahead and do these little thumb circles, right? So just make your thumbs as big a range of motion as you could stand. And when I was doing this a few weeks ago, I mean, it was like putting my thumbs through like concrete. It was absolutely terrible. So I literally had to kind of assist myself through some of the tougher parts of the range of motion. Back and forth, about 15 times, 20 times, one direction, do the same on the other direction. Once you do that, you can do 3 sets, you can do 1 set. Just kind of, again, establishing the range of motion, kind of finding the sticking points. Once I do that, I like this stretch. So make a fist like you want to break your fist, right? You would never punch like this. You'd completely destroy yourself. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to clamp down on the thumb, and then you're going to kind of cast a fishing, I don't know anything about fishing, but reel? Rod? Rod. Thanks. He said rod. You can keep that. All right, so go down, and you'll feel, if you have this same problem, you'll feel some crazy tension that you've never felt before. At least that was my experience. Go down, hold it about 3 seconds, bring it back up. Okay, do that a little bit. Final stretch that I'm going to get to, that was kind of my eureka moment in this. I noticed that while getting into the stretch, I had a little bit of restriction in my shoulders and a little bit of restriction in my biceps and my pec as well, probably like the pec minor. So in order to get a really deep stretch for the forearm, which is ultimately what I'm after, because again, it's all kind of connected here, I want to kind of loosen up the restriction points in my shoulder, my biceps, and my pec, so I can really get into it, right? They're kind of like, they're sort of standing in the way right now, so I want to get them out of the way. So I'll start off with a good shoulder stretch. So grip a hold of this thing, and you kind of like sit back. You can put this on the door jamb or whatever. You could even, if you don't have a band, the band's nice because it's accommodating the resistance. It's accommodating resistance, if you will. But you could just grab a hold of like a nice static, stable piece of whatever that you can grip and just kind of sit back into it. Again, though, I like the band because it lets me get a bit deeper. So I step back, drop down. This is just a wonderful shoulder stretch. Drop down into it, and usually my tightest point is when I go inside, kind of medial through here, and I'll just wait for that. A lot of times my shoulders, after about a minute or so of just hanging out here and trying to get deeper and deeper into the stretch, my shoulders will start like quivering, and it's pretty rad. Like they'll just kind of let go, and then you just get even deeper into it. I'm assuming that's a good thing. Maybe I'm killing myself, I don't know, but it feels pretty good on the shoulder. So after I do that for a little bit, I might go into like a pec stretch. It's a very similar thing. Hold it. I like to go at about close to a 45-degree angle, just because that's the way the muscle fibers kind of run on the pecs. So I'll open that up and I'll just turn my hips out. And with the biceps, if you want to stretch those, you can kind of pivot, turn your wrist down, like thumb down. Milk's gone bad, right? Down, and then open that up and you get a little bit more of a bicep stretch. It kind of takes a little bit off the pec. So once you get that all kind of loosened up, then I'm ready for this one. So I'm gonna take my palm. I'm gonna put it, I did this because I was just kind of hanging out, talking to somebody, and I was stretching my wrists out. I do that, I'll just be like actively stretching while I'm just having a conversation. I think it probably freaks people out a little bit, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. So I was just kind of sitting there, kind of stretching my wrists out, and then I went into kind of this very similar to that pec stretch and really opened that up. And man, I don't know, something about the way the angle of the wrist is, all the way from the shoulder, biceps, through the forearm, into the thumb, this thumb joint. It was very, very intense. Like I hadn't done it in 40 years, right? Which I haven't. So, and then the next day, I could move my thumbs around. It was wild. I had the most range of motion in my thumbs that I've had in probably a decade. And this had to have been it. So I've been doing this ever since, and it's really been helping me quite a bit. I do get a little bit of tingling, just a little bit of tingling in the hand when I do this. I'm kind of used to tingling though with stretches and whatever. I think it's nerve compression. I don't know how serious it is, but if you're like losing feeling in your hands when you're doing this, I probably wouldn't do it. Maybe get another opinion. But so far for me, it's been worth the trade-off. So anyways, back to the stretch. Put my palm on the door, and I bring it just about shoulder height, maybe just a little bit higher, and then keep that planted here, and then open up, and this is where you start to feel that. Hold this there for about 30 seconds, a couple minutes, 2 minutes max. My thumbs, I had some sort of restriction point in here, and it's gone away. So I want to share that with the world. If you have any favorite thumb exercises, or if you're destroying your nervous system, stop doing it immediately. Please let me know. I want to know that stuff. Rob Shoecraft, 3 Storm Fitness. Please subscribe. Thank you very much.